Captain Lee Hyun stood at the front window of the big spaceship watching the stars move past them. The ship was called Earth Hope, and it was the first human ship to travel between the stars. Lee Hyun had dreamed of this day since he was a small boy, but now he felt worried about what they might find out there. The Galaxy Council had sent messages to Earth 3 months ago. The messages said they wanted to be friends with humans. They said they would share knowledge and technology. They promised to help humans join the big family of space civilizations, but something felt wrong to Lee Hyun. Ambassador Kong Mina walked up to stand next to him. She was wearing her best blue uniform with gold buttons. She had studied alien languages for 10 years, and she was excited to finally meet real aliens from other worlds. Kong Mina believed the Galaxy Council really wanted to help humans. Look, Captain, she said, pointing at the big screen, the alien ships are coming to meet us. Lee Hyun looked at the screen and saw 12 strange ships coming toward them. The ships were big and dark, with weird shapes that hurt his eyes to look at them. The ships moved in a pattern like they were dancing, but Lee Hyun thought it looked more like wolves circling their prey on the bridge of Earth Hope. Many people were working hard. Dr. Kim Nari was looking at her computer screens trying to understand the alien signals. She was the smartest person Lee Hyun knew, and if anyone could figure out alien technology, it would be her. Park Jun was standing at the weapons control station even though the weapons were turned off. The Galaxy Council had asked humans to come with no weapons as a sign of trust. Park Jun did not like this idea, but the government had ordered him to follow the rules. The alien ships got closer and closer until they surrounded Earth Hope completely. Lee Hyun counted them again. There were not 12 ships, there were 24 ships, and more were coming from behind the moon. The aliens had lied about how many ships they were bringing. A voice came through the radio speakers on the bridge. The voice sounded like music, but the words were strange. Welcome, humans of Earth. We are the Galaxy Council, and we bring greetings from 10,000 worlds. Kong Mina stepped forward to answer. Thank you for welcoming us. We are honored to meet you and learn about your civilizations. The alien voice continued. We have prepared a special place for you on our main ship. Please come aboard, so we can begin the friendship ceremonies. Lee Hyun looked at Dr. Kim Nari. She was frowning at her computer and shaking her head. Something was wrong with the alien signal. She was trying to tell him something without the aliens hearing. Captain Lee Hyun said quietly to Kong Mina, I think we should be careful, but Kong Mina was too excited to listen. She had worked her whole life for this moment. She wanted to trust the aliens and believe they were good. The alien ships opened big doors and bright lights came out. The lights were pretty, but they made Lee Hyun feel sick to his stomach. Park Jun felt it too, and he put his hand on his weapon control even though the weapons were off. Dr. Kim Nari finally figured out what was wrong with the alien signals. She ran to Lee Hyun and whispered in his ear, Captain, the aliens are scanning our ship. They are looking at our weapons and our defense systems. They are also scanning our bodies to see how strong we are. Lee Hyun felt cold fear in his stomach. The aliens were not being friendly. They were studying humans like scientists study bugs before they squish them more. Alien voices came through the radio, and now Lee Hyun could hear that they were talking to each other in their own language. Dr. Kim Nari had learned some alien words from the old radio signals, and she could understand a little bit. She grabbed Lee Hyun's arm and said, Captain, they are saying something about human weakness. They are laughing about how easy this will be. The main alien ship was huge, and it came very close to Earth Hope. A big tube came out of the alien ship and attached to Earth Hope with a loud bang. The aliens wanted the humans to walk through the tube to their ship. Kong Mina was ready to go, but Lee Hyun held her back. Wait, he said, we need to think about this, but it was too late. The alien tube was already connected, and alien soldiers were walking through it. The soldiers were tall and thin with purple skin and big black eyes. They carried weapons that looked like they could cut through metal. The alien leader walked onto the bridge of Earth Hope. He was taller than the other aliens, and he wore a long coat made of silver metal. His eyes were like black holes, and when he smiled his teeth were sharp like knives. Greetings, Captain Lee Hyun, the alien said. I am Commander Vex of the Galaxy Council. We are so happy to finally meet humans. Lee Hyun did not feel happy. He felt like a mouse that had just walked into a trap, but he tried to stay calm and not show his fear. Welcome to our ship, Commander Vex, Lee Hyun said. We are honored by your visit, Commander. Vex looked around the bridge of Earth Hope like he was shopping for things to buy. His alien soldiers spread out and started looking at the human equipment. They were taking pictures and making notes about everything. Your ship is very interesting, Commander Vex said. Your technology is more advanced than we expected. This will be very useful for our purposes. Park Jun looked at Lee Hyun with worried eyes. The alien soldiers were getting too close to the weapon controls and the navigation systems. Dr. Kim Nari was still listening to the alien radio signals. She could hear more alien ships talking to each other in space. They were talking about human cities and human population numbers. They were planning something big, and it was not good. Commander Vex walked over to Kong Mina and said, you must be the human ambassador. We have heard much about you. We are eager to begin the integration process. What kind of integration process? Kong Mina asked. Commander Vex smiled with his sharp teeth. The same process we have used with all new species. First, we learn about you. Then we help you understand your place in the galaxy. Li did not like the way Commander Vex said those words. It sounded like he was talking about making humans into slaves. That night, after the aliens left to go back to their ships, Li Hun called a secret meeting with his best officers. They met in a small room where the aliens could not hear them. Kim Nari told them what she had learned from listening to the alien signals. The Galaxy Council was not really a council of friends. It was an empire that conquered other species by pretending to be nice first. They have done this before. She said they find new species and offer friendship. Then they learn about their technology and weaknesses. Then they attack and take over their worlds. Park Jun asked how many species have they conquered. Kim Nari looked scared when she answered over 300 species in the last 1,000 years. None of them exist as free people anymore. Li Hien felt anger growing in his chest. The aliens had lied to humans. They had pretended to be friends, but they really wanted to make humans into slaves like all the other species. The aliens think humans are weak and stupid like the other species they conquered, Li Hien said. But they are wrong. We are not like the others. We are humans and we do not give up without a fight. That night, Li Huyan sent a secret message back to Earth using a hidden radio system. The message said the Galaxy Council was not friendly and that Earth needed to prepare for war, but Li Huyan also knew that humans had something. The aliens did not expect humans were very good at pretending and hiding their real strength. The aliens thought they were tricking humans, but humans could trick them back. Their real game was just beginning, and the Galaxy Council had no idea what they had gotten themselves into by trying to deceive humanity. Back on Earth, the secret message from Captain Li Huan reached President Choi Day at 3 in the morning. President Choi Day was sleeping when his phone rang with the emergency signal. He jumped out of bed and ran to his secure office where the message was waiting. The message was short, but it changed everything. The Galaxy Council is lying. They want to conquer us like they conquered other species. Prepare for war. Immediately, President Choi Day called his top generals and scientists to an emergency meeting. They all came to the underground bunker beneath the government building, even though it was the middle of the night. Everyone came quickly because they knew this was the most important meeting in human history. General Bang Min was the first to speak. What do we know about their military strength? Not much, said Dr. Yoon. But we know they have conquered over 300 species in the past 1,000 years. They must be very powerful. Engineer Shin Woo stood up and walked to the big screen on the wall. He had been working on secret projects for the military, and now it was time to reveal them. We have been preparing for this day for 10 years, he said. Even before we met the aliens, we knew that space might be dangerous. So we built things that other species have never seen. Shin Woo pressed a button and the screen showed pictures of strange machines and weapons. The first picture showed a spaceship that looked like it was made of black glass. This is the Shadow Fighter. He said it can become invisible and it can pass through solid walls. The pilot can fly inside enemy ships and attack from within. The next picture showed soldiers wearing thick metal suits that made them look like robots. These are battle suits. He continued. A human wearing this suit can lift a car and run faster than a horse. The suit also protects the soldier from laser weapons and poison gas. President Choi Day looked amazed. How many of these do we have? Shin Woo smiled. We have been building them in secret factories on the dark side of the moon. We have 1,000 shadow fighters and 10,000 battle suits. We also have other surprises. Dr. Yoon Ha showed the next pictures on the screen. These were pictures of tiny things that looked like bugs, but they were made of metal. These are nanobots, she said. They are so small you cannot see them without a special microscope. They can get inside alien bodies and shut down their brains or make their hearts stop. The room was quiet as everyone thought about these powerful weapons. Other species probably fought with normal guns and missiles, but humans had created things that seemed like magic. But General Bang Min was thinking about strategy, not just weapons. Numbers matter, he said. How many ships do the aliens have? We think they have over 50,000 warships, said Shin Woo, but they are spread across the whole galaxy. Most of their ships are far away, keeping other species under control. This gave President Choi Day an idea. What if we could make other species rebel against the aliens at the same time? If the aliens have to fight wars on many worlds, they cannot focus all their power on Earth. Meanwhile, in space, Captain Lee Haeon was playing a dangerous game. He had to pretend that humans were weak and stupid while secretly learning everything he could about alien technology. Commander Vex visited Earth Hope every day. He brought other alien officers with him and they all acted very friendly. They showed humans alien computers and weapons, and they explained how the Galaxy Council controlled so many worlds. The secret is that most species give up to Isli. Commander Vex told Li Hien they fight for a little while, but when they see our power they surrender. We offer them a choice, serve us or die. Most choose to serve. Li Hien nodded and pretended to be impressed. But inside he was thinking that humans would never make that choice. Humans would rather die fighting than live as slaves. Kim Nari was working day and night to understand alien technology. She discovered that the aliens were very good at building big powerful things, but they were not good at building small smart things. Their computers were strong but slow, and their weapons were powerful but took a long time to charge. She also learned something very important about alien biology. The aliens breathed a different kind of air than humans, and they needed special chemicals to stay healthy. If those chemicals were taken away, the aliens would get sick and weak very quickly. Park Jun made friends with some of the alien soldiers. He pretended to admire their weapons and asked them to show him how everything worked. The alien soldiers were proud and they liked to show off. They told Park Jun about their battle tactics and their weaknesses. The aliens always attack the same way, Park Jun reported to Lee Hyun. They send their biggest ships first to scare the enemy. Then they demand surrender if the enemy says no. They attack with overwhelming force. They have never fought an enemy that used tricks or surprise attacks. This information was very valuable. Humans were experts at using tricks and surprise attacks. It was how humans had won wars against each other for thousands of years. Kang Mina was also gathering intelligence, but in a different way. She attended meetings with alien diplomats and learned about the political structure of the Galaxy Council. She discovered that the council was not as united as they pretended to be. Many species in the council hate each other. She told Lee Hae-in they only work together because they are afraid of the council leaders. If we could break their unity, they might start fighting each other instead of fighting us. After 2 weeks of pretending to be friends, the aliens began to show their true nature. Commander Vex started making demands. He wanted human scientists to work on alien projects. He wanted human soldiers to help fight rebel species in other parts of the galaxy. Importantly, he wanted human children to be sent to alien schools for cultural exchange, but Dr. Kim Nari had intercepted alien communications that revealed the truth. The aliens did not want to educate human children. They wanted to experiment on them to create human-alien hybrid slaves. This was the moment that changed everything. When Lee Hyun learned about the alien plans for human children, he stopped pretending to be cooperative. He looked Commander Vex in the eye and said something that shocked the alien. No, he said simply, "We will not give you our children, we will not serve you, and we will not surrender." Commander Vex was confused. No species had ever said no to the Galaxy Council after seeing their power. "You do not understand, human," he said with his sharp teeth showing. "We have conquered worlds with billions of people. Your planet has only 8 billion humans. You cannot resist us." Lee Huyan smiled for the first time since the aliens arrived. "You are right, Commander Vex, we cannot resist you, but we are not going to resist you. We are going to destroy you." Alien officers laughed because they thought Lee Hae-in was making a joke. But Lee Hae-in was not joking. He pressed a hidden button on his uniform and sent a signal to Earth. Signal had only one word, but it was the most important word in human history. Attack on Earth. President Choi Day received the signal and immediately activated all the secret military projects that had been hidden for 10 years. The shadow fighters launched from the moon. The soldiers put on their battle suits. The nanobots were loaded into special weapons, but most importantly, human agents who had been hiding throughout the galaxy for months received orders to begin their missions. These agents had been pretending to be traders and students and tourists while they planted listening devices and mapped alien defenses. The Galaxy Council thought they were the hunters and humans were the prey, but they were about to learn that humans had been hunting them from the very beginning. The real war was about to start, and the aliens had no idea what was coming for them. The moment Captain Lee Hyun pressed the attack button, everything changed across the galaxy. Human agents who had been hiding for months suddenly revealed themselves and began their secret missions. But before the fighting started, Lee Hae-in did something that no species had ever done before. He sent a message to every alien civilization in the galaxy using the Council-owned communication system. The message was broadcast to billions of creatures on thousands of worlds, and it contained only one word that would become legendary. Run. The word echoed through space, reaching every corner of the galaxy, from the oldest alien empires to the newest conquered worlds. Every alien leader, every soldier, every citizen heard the human warning, and most of them laughed. On the Galaxy Council main ship, Commander Vex stared at Lee Hyun with his black eyes wide with shock. No species had ever threatened the Council before. Most species begged for mercy when they saw the Council's true power. "You are making a mistake, human," Commander Vex said. "One small planet cannot fight an empire that spans the galaxy." Lee Hae-in looked calm as he replied, "We are not fighting your empire. We are ending it." Before Commander Vex could respond, explosions began happening all around. The Council fleet, human shadow fighters, had been hiding near the alien ships, invisible and waiting for the signal to attack. The first alien ship exploded in a ball of fire and metal. The alien officers on Earth Hope panicked and tried to call for help, but their communication systems were dead. Dr. Kim Nari had used her nanobots to destroy the alien electronics from the inside. The aliens were blind and deaf. Park Jun activated the hidden weapons that had been built into Earth Hope. Even though the aliens thought it was unarmed, laser cannons came out of secret panels and began shooting at the alien ships. The aliens had been so confident that they had not even raised their shields in space. The shadow fighters were doing something that aliens had never seen before. The human ships could phase through solid matter, so they flew inside the alien ships and attacked from within. The alien crews could not fight enemies that appeared in their own hallways on Earth. The secret moon base opened its doors and thousands of human warships poured out. These were not the primitive ships the aliens expected. They were advanced vessels built with technology that humans had developed in secret for 20 years. The first major battle happened near Jupiter, where a Galaxy Council patrol fleet was guarding the outer solar system. The alien commander was sure his 50 ships could easily defeat the 20 human ships that approached, but the human ships split up and attacked from all directions. At once the aliens tried to use their standard tactics, but the humans did not follow any rules. The aliens understood human ships would retreat when they should attack and attack when they should retreat. The alien commander sent a message to his fleet: stay in formation and use overwhelming firepower, but the human ships were too fast and too unpredictable. One human ship flew straight at an alien battleship and the aliens thought it was going to crash. Instead, the human ship phased through the alien ship and dropped nanobots inside. The alien battleship began to shake and spark as the nanobots destroyed its systems from within. The alien crew tried to abandon ship, but it was too late. The entire ship exploded from the inside out. The galaxy. Other human agents were revealing themselves. Jin had been pretending to be a simple trader for 6 months, but he was actually a military intelligence officer. He had been mapping alien supply lines and now he began destroying them. Jin's ship was filled with special bombs that could destroy entire space stations. He flew to the main alien supply depot in the Centauri system and sent a message to the alien guards. This is for every species you enslaved, he said as he crashed his ship into the station. The explosion destroyed enough supplies to feed an entire alien fleet for a year. Student Bay Sun had been attending alien universities and learning their languages, but she was also a trained spy. She had planted listening devices in government buildings and learned the locations of secret alien bases. When the war began, Bay Sun activated bombs she had hidden in alien computer systems. The bombs destroyed databases that contained information about conquered species and battle plans. The aliens suddenly could not coordinate their military forces. The most shocking attack came from pilot Num Su, who had been testing the experimental phase fighters. His ship could not only become invisible, but could also exist in multiple dimensions at once. This meant he could attack alien ships from directions that did not exist in normal space now. Su flew his ship into the Council main command center and began destroying everything he could find. The alien commanders could not understand how he was attacking them from impossible angles. They tried to shoot him, but their weapons passed through empty space. The Galaxy Council leaders held an emergency meeting. They had never faced an enemy like humans before. Every other species they conquered had fought in predictable ways, but humans seemed to break all the rules of warfare. These humans are insane, said one council leader. They attack when they should retreat and they use tactics that make no sense. Another leader said, maybe they are not insane, maybe they are just better at war than we are. The council decided to send a massive fleet to destroy Earth once and for all. They gathered 5,000 of their best warships and sent them toward the human home world, but the humans were ready for them. As the alien fleet approached Earth, they found something impossible. The entire solar system was full of human ships, thousands of vessels that had been built in secret bases throughout the outer planets. Alien fleet commander sent a message to Earth: surrender now, and we will allow your species to serve us in the mines of distant worlds. The response came from President Choi Dae himself. We gave you a chance to run, you should have listened. The battle of Earth lasted 3 days and changed the galaxy forever. The aliens had more ships, but the humans had better tactics and superior technology. The human ships worked together like a single organism while the alien ships followed rigid battle plans. The first day the aliens tried to use their standard overwhelming force strategy. They sent wave after wave of ships at the human defenses, but the humans had built defensive stations that could phase in and out of reality. The alien weapons hit nothing but empty space. On the second day, the aliens tried to surround Earth and cut off human supply lines, but humans did not need supply lines like other species. Human ships could repair themselves using nanobots and could create fuel from space dust. On the third day, the aliens realized they were losing. The human nanobots had infected their ships and were slowly destroying them from within. The alien crews were getting sick from biological weapons that humans had released into their air systems. The alien fleet commander made a desperate decision. He would crash his flagship into Earth and destroy the human homeworld, even if it meant his own death. But as his ship approached Earth, it began to phase through the planet like it was made of smoke. That humans had somehow made their entire world incorporeal. The alien ship passed harmlessly through Earth and crashed into the moon. The alien commander realized in his final moments that humans had technology that seemed like magic. By the end of the third day, the alien fleet was destroyed. The few surviving alien ships fled back to Council space, carrying news that would terrify the galaxy. The mighty Galaxy Council had been defeated by a species they thought was primitive, but that humans were not finished. The warning to run had not been a threat, it had been a promise. Humanity was coming for the Galaxy Council, and nothing in the universe would stop them. The galaxy would never be the same again. News of the human victory at Earth spread through the galaxy faster than light itself. Alien civilizations that had served the Galaxy Council for hundreds of years suddenly began to question everything they believed. The mighty Council fleet had been destroyed by a species that most aliens had never heard of before on the planet Zephyr Prime. The native Zephyrians had been slaves to the Council for 2 centuries. They worked in the crystal mines and were beaten if they complained, but when they heard that humans had defeated a Council fleet, the Zephyrians began to whisper among themselves. Maybe freedom is possible, said an old Zephyrian miner named Kex to his friend. Maybe these humans can help us. But the Zephyrian guards who worked for the Council laughed at such talk. Humans are just lucky, they said. One victory means nothing against an empire of 10,000 worlds. The guards stopped laughing when human ships appeared in the Zephyr system. Captain Li Heian was leading a fleet of 50 shadow fighters, and they moved through space like ghosts. The Council garrison ships tried to fight, but the humans had learned from the Battle of Earth. The human ships did not attack the garrison directly. Instead, they used their phase technology to fly inside the Council ships and release Dr. Yunha biological weapons. The alien crews began to get sick within minutes. Biological weapons were designed specifically for Council species anatomy. The infected aliens could not breathe properly and their skin began to change color. They tried to use their medical systems, but the human viruses were too advanced. In the Council command ship, the alien admiral tried to contact other Council forces for help, but the human nanobots had already destroyed his communication systems. He was trapped on a dying ship with no way to call for rescue. The Zephyrians watched from their mines as the Council ships began to fall from the sky like burning stars. For the first time in 200 years, they saw their oppressors defeated. The old miner Kex began to cry tears of joy, but the humans did something that amazed the Zephyrians even more. Instead of conquering the planet for themselves, the humans landed and began helping the injured aliens. They gave medical treatment to Council soldiers and offered food to hungry Zephyrians. Captain Li Hian spoke to the gathered crowd of different species. "We did not come here to rule you, we came to free you. The choice of what to do next is yours." This was something completely new in galactic history. When the Council conquered a world, they enslaved everyone. When other species rebelled, they usually just wanted to become the new rulers, but humans offered something that had never existed before: true freedom. The story of Zephyr Prime spread to other worlds, and soon rebellions began everywhere. Species that had been conquered centuries ago suddenly remembered what it felt like to hope. The Council found itself fighting wars on dozens of fronts at once. On the industrial world of Mechanica, the robot workers stopped following Council orders and began building weapons for the rebellion. On the ocean world of Aquatica, the fish people destroyed the Council underwater bases. On the forest world of Verdinia, the tree dwellers used their knowledge of nature to create traps for Council soldiers. But the most terrifying thing for the Council was not the rebellions, it was the humans themselves. Human tactics made no sense to alien military leaders who had studied warfare for thousands of years. Commander Rubin was leading human forces in the Outer Rim territories. He would attack important Council bases and then retreat when the Council sent reinforcements to help. Then he would attack completely different targets on the other side of the galaxy. The Council kept trying to predict where humans would strike next, but it was impossible. Human commanders like Ru Ben seemed to choose targets randomly. Sometimes they would attack heavily defended military bases and ignore easy targets. Sometimes they would destroy empty supply depots and leave enemy fleets alone. What the Council did not understand was that humans were fighting a psychological war, not just a military one. Every unpredictable attack made the aliens more afraid and more confused. Council soldiers began to panic when they heard that humans were in their sector. The fear got worse when Council forces realized that humans were everywhere. Merchant Captain Ojin had not been the only human spy. There were thousands of human agents throughout the galaxy, disguised as traders, students, tourists, and refugees. Some humans had been living among alien populations for years, learning their languages and customs. The aliens had thought these humans were harmless, but they were actually gathering intelligence and preparing for war. On the Council capital world of Supremacy, the ruling council met in emergency session. The 12 most powerful aliens in the galaxy sat around a crystal table trying to understand how their empire was falling apart. "We have ruled the galaxy for 1,000 years, said the first counselor. "How can one primitive species destroy everything we have built?" The military counselor showed holographic displays of human attacks. "The problem is that they do not fight like civilized species. They use chaos and unpredictability as weapons. Our computers cannot calculate their next move because they do not follow logical patterns." The science counselor had been studying captured human technology. "What we have learned about their science is disturbing. They combine different types of technology in ways that should not work. Their ships use quantum mechanics, biology, nanotechnology, and dimensional physics all at the same time." But the intelligence counselor had the most frightening news of all. "Our spy networks have been completely compromised. The humans have been watching us for years. They know our military codes, our supply routes, our secret bases. They know things about our empire that we have forgotten ourselves." The council realized that they were not just fighting a war, they were fighting an enemy that understood them better than they understood themselves. The humans had spent years learning council weaknesses while pretending to be weak themselves. The psychological warfare was working perfectly. Council soldiers were afraid to patrol space routes because human ships could appear from nowhere. Council administrators were afraid to make decisions because human spies might be listening. Council leaders were afraid to trust anyone because humans could disguise themselves as other species. In distant worlds, council garrisons began to surrender without fighting when human ships appeared in their systems. The alien commanders would immediately broadcast surrender messages. They had heard what happened to soldiers who tried to fight humans, and they did not want to die from biological weapons or nanobot infections. The surrenders started a chain reaction across the galaxy. If the mighty council military could not fight humans, then what hope did anyone have? Species that had served the council for generations began to switch sides and join the human alliance. Emperor Vex, the supreme leader of the Galaxy Council, finally understood that his empire was doomed. He had built his power on fear and overwhelming force, but humans had shown the galaxy that the Council could be defeated. Now every conquered species wanted their freedom. In his private chambers, Emperor Vex recorded a message that would be found years later by historians. "These humans are not like other species," he said into the recorder. "They do not fight for territory or resources. They fight for ideas like freedom and justice. Ideas are more powerful than weapons because they inspire others to fight." The Emperor was right. Human ideas were spreading faster than human ships. Every species that gained freedom from the Council began to believe that they deserved to be free. Every slave that was rescued began to dream of a galaxy without oppression. The Galaxy Council had created their empire by making other species afraid. Now the humans would have had made the Council afraid, and the empire was crumbling. The tables had turned and the hunters had become the hunted, but the humans were not finished yet. They had promised to free every enslaved species in the galaxy, and they always kept their promises. The final battle for the Council capital was coming, and it would decide the fate of 10,000 worlds. 6 months after Captain Li Hyun had sent his warning to run, the Galaxy Council empire was in ruins. The mighty civilization that had ruled 10,000 worlds for a millennium was falling apart like a house made of cards. Human forces had not just won battles, they had inspired a galaxy-wide revolution. The final battle came at Supremacy, the Council capital world. Emperor Vex had gathered the last loyal Council fleets around his home planet, hoping to make a final stand. But when the human armada arrived, led by President Choi Day himself, the Emperor realized that resistance was hopeless. The human fleet was not just made of Earth ships anymore. Hundreds of species had joined the Human Alliance, and they brought their own unique technologies. The Zephyrians contributed crystal-powered energy weapons. The Aquaticans provided underwater assault craft. The Mechanicans built robot soldiers that fought alongside humans, but the most powerful weapon the humans brought was not made of metal or energy, it was hope. The enslaved populations on Supremacy began to rebel even before the human ships entered the atmosphere. Council soldiers found themselves fighting their own slaves while trying to defend against the human invasion. Vex watched from his palace as his capital city burned. He had spent his life believing that power came from fear and strength. But the humans had shown him that real power came from inspiring others to fight for what was right. Communication came through to the palace. From the human fleet, President Choi Day appeared on the Emperor holographic display. Looking calm and confident, Emperor Vex, he said, "We offer you the same choice you gave to every species you conquered. Surrender now and live as a prisoner, or fight and die with your empire." Emperor Vex looked at his advisors, but they were all gone. They had either fled or joined the rebellion. The once mighty ruler of the galaxy was alone in his palace with only his personal guards, who looked ready to run at any moment. "I will not surrender to primitives," Emperor Vex said, even though he knew it was hopeless. President Choi Day shook his head sadly. "You still do not understand. We are not primitives. We are humans, and we keep our promises." Palace shields fell as human nanobots destroyed the power systems. Human soldiers in battlesuits walked through the walls using phase technology. Emperor Vex tried to fight, but his weapons could not hit targets that existed in multiple dimensions. At once, within an hour, the last emperor of the Galaxy Council was in human custody. The war was over, but the real work was just beginning. President Choi Day stood in the former council assembly hall where representatives from 1,000 worlds had once bowed to their alien masters. Now the hall was filled with delegates from every free species in the galaxy, and they were all equals. "My fellow beings," President Choi Day said to the gathered crowd, "we have won a great victory together, but winning a war is easier than building a peace." The delegates listened carefully as the human president explained his vision for the galaxy. Humans did not want to become the new rulers. Instead, they wanted to create something that had never existed before. "A truly free galactic civilization. We propose a new kind of government," President Choi Day said. "One where every species has a voice and no one has the power to enslave others. We will call it the Galactic Federation, and membership will be completely voluntary." This idea amazed many of the alien delegates. They had lived under the council tyranny for so long that they had forgotten what freedom meant. Some species were afraid that without a strong central government there would be chaos and war, but Engineer Shinwoo stood up to address their concerns. "We humans have learned something important," he said. "Freedom works best when everyone chooses to cooperate instead of being forced to obey." To prove this point, Shinwoo announced that humans would share all their advanced technology freely with any species that wanted it. The phase drive technology that made ships invisible, the nanobot medical systems that could cure diseases, the dimensional weapons that had defeated the council fleet. This generous offer convinced many doubtful species that humans were serious about creating a free galaxy. Dr. Yoon Ha began working with alien scientists to develop new technologies that combined human innovation with alien knowledge. The results were amazing. When different species worked together voluntarily, they created things that none of them could have built alone. The Aquaticans and humans built ships that could travel underwater through space. The Zephyrians and humans created crystal computers that could think faster than any previous technology. But not everyone was happy with the new order. Some council loyalists tried to start their own empire in distant parts of the galaxy. They gathered the remaining council fleets and declared themselves the new council. Captain Li Hyun led the response to this threat. But instead of sending warships, he sent teachers and doctors and engineers. Human volunteers went to worlds controlled by the new council and showed the people there what life could be like in a free society. The new council leaders tried to stop their people from listening to the human message, but it was too late. The ideas of freedom and cooperation were spreading like a virus that could not be stopped one by one. The new council worlds chose to join the Galactic Federation. The last new council leader was a former emperor named Zax, who controlled a small group of fanatic followers. He sent a message to Li Hyun challenging him to single combat. "You have destroyed everything we built," Zax said. "If you are truly honorable, you will face me alone." Li Hyun accepted the challenge not because he wanted to fight, but because he wanted to show Zax and his followers that there was a better way. When they met on a neutral space station, Li Hyun came unarmed. Zax was confused. "Why do you not bring weapons? Are you afraid to fight?" Li Hyun smiled. "I am not here to fight you. I am here to offer you a choice. You can spend your life trying to rebuild an empire based on fear, or you can help us build a civilization based on hope." Zax attacked with his energy sword, but Li Hyun did not fight back. Instead, he used words as weapons. He talked about all the species that were now free. He described the amazing technologies being developed through cooperation. He painted a picture of a galaxy where everyone could choose their own destiny. By the end of their conversation, Zax was crying. He realized that everything he had believed about power and control was wrong. The Galaxy Council had been strong, but the Galactic Federation was stronger because it was based on the willing cooperation of free beings. 10 years later, the galaxy was transformed. The Galactic Federation included over 8,000 species, and new worlds were joining every month. Trade and exploration flourished as species worked together to solve problems and discover new wonders. Earth President Choi Dae was giving a speech to celebrate the anniversary of the war end. He stood in front of a monument dedicated to all the beings who had died fighting for freedom. "We did not set out to conquer the galaxy," he said. "We set out to free it. The difference between conquest and liberation is simple. Conquest takes away choice. Liberation gives choice back." The monument was visited by beings from across the galaxy who came to honor the memory of those who had sacrificed everything for freedom. Among the names carved in stone were humans and aliens who had died side by side fighting for the same dream. At the top of the monument was the message that had started it all, the single word that Captain Li Hyun had broadcast to warn the Galaxy Council: run. But now the word had a different meaning. It no longer meant run from human vengeance. It meant run toward human friendship, run toward freedom, run toward a better future for all beings in the galaxy. The humans had kept their promise. They had warned the Galaxy Council to run, and when the Council chose to fight instead, the humans had run toward them with weapons of war. But when the war was over, the humans ran toward their former enemies with gifts of peace. This was the human way: to fight fiercely for what was right, and then to forgive completely when the fighting was done. The galaxy was learning that the most dangerous thing about humans was not their weapons or their tactics. It was their unshakable belief that everyone deserved to be free.